We're going to start now. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another webinar by Yemert. Yemert is an agri-tech company that provides holistic solutions to smallholder farmers, and some of these services include access to microinsurance, which helps to protect farmers from unpredictable risks, carbon credit programs, which reward them for sustainable agricultural practices, and also market linkages, connecting farmers to trading opportunities to enable them to sell their products more profitably. And today I am really happy to be joined by these great speakers. First of all, the title of this webinar is What African Farmers Need to Know About Fixing the Soil, which is very, very important. So before I start this dialogue, I want to introduce each of these speakers. Thank you so much for being with us. Um, First, there's Kumar, who is the founder of Food for Soil Africa and a strategic finance leader with over 25 years of experience in manufacturing, trade, and consulting across East Africa. At Food for Soil Africa, Kumar built a mission-driven enterprise that develops natural, sustainable agricultural solutions to address one of Africa's biggest farming challenges, which is degraded soil. Under his leadership, the company has helped farmers shift away from synthetic inputs, improve waste management, and implement on-farm methods that regenerate fertility and increase profitability. Sorry, that's a hard word. Profitability. Next, we have also Mafa Cornelis Kuta, who is the founder and CEO of Wandusoa Organic Cameroon. And Mafa's journey is rooted quite literally in the soil, raised on a family farm and shaped by 2 decades of hands-on experience. He's seen firsthand how farmers can either heal or harm the land. Today, he dedicates his life to preserving and restoring the topsoil that sustains all species. At Wandusoa, Mafa leads efforts to tackle the harsh realities of climate change and unsustainable agricultural practices. His work is focused on helping farmers protect soil fertility, improve yields naturally, and reduce dependence on harmful inputs, all while embracing ecological balance and compassion. And last but not least, we have Noah Nasiali, who is the founder of a Farmers Agri-Tech and Leadership Center. With over 15 years of hands-on farming experience and a background in technology, Noah is a powerful bridge between farmers and innovation. His work has helped reshape how agri-tech reaches the last mile, equipping smallholder farmers with the tools they need to thrive, not just survive. So again, thank you so much to this wonderful group of speakers for being with us on this important subject. First of all, my first question, just to delve a little bit deeper into this, is soil degradation, as we know, is a very complex challenge. Could each of you share your perspective on the main cause of soil loss and decline in productivity in African agriculture? Anyone can start.
So, where I come from, they say you let the elders talk first. So I'll let my seniors talk first.
You're my senior.
All right, so probably I can go first. And thank you very much for the opportunity to be here, to be able to address this issue. For me, I love talking about soil, and apart from just talking about it, working very closely to smallholder farmers about it. I come into this webinar wearing two hats, both as a soil specialist, now almost becoming a soil scientist, but also as a smallholder farmer, and having worked with close to 6,000 smallholder farmers visiting each and every of their farms. So one of the main reasons from the farmer's perspective, for me, I will say it as raw as it sounds, it is lack of knowledge, lack of basic knowledge on soil management on the part of farmers. Most of the time, farmers are equipped very well with subsidized fertilizers. They're equipped with good inputs, very good software, but they're never talked to about soil health and the importance of soil health. So you meet farmers and they tell you, I have used this fertilizer, and that is all they know. Rarely do you find these farmers talking about that. I am even letting my farm to be fallow for the next 6 months. So for me, one of the core reasons and challenges that farmers are facing when it comes to degrading soils is lack of proper extension services that is geared towards soil management.
Thank you so much for that insightful response, Noah. Could Kumar or Mafa want to add on to this?
Yes, uh, um, yes. I'm Kumar, and also basically I'm an accountant and a finance guy. But last 3.5 years, I'm into this field, uh, crisscrossing the whole country, also neighboring countries, but mostly in Kenya. And I looked at it from a very different perspective, not as an agriculturist, not as a farmer, not as a agronomist or somebody who has done that. And I tried to find out where the issue is. So, and in fact, in 3 years, I've been to more than 4,000 farms as well, more than 20,000 farm visits, small, most of them small and medium size. One of the things what I find is that the lack of understanding or knowledge as to what is soil. You know, everybody has forgotten that soil is a living organism where it has got many organisms and it has a whole life under it. We all know, so I'm not talking much on it. And the second thing, what I find it from the market point of view is that you'll find different people wanting to give different solutions, but there is no single holistic solution towards the soil. So we are looking at soil as if the way we go to a doctor and we are analyzing the different aspects of it, from one particular perspective. But we are not looking at the soil as a mother who is providing it food. So that's where the name comes for our company, Food for Soil. So that holistic solution is what is required. So it's like this: when you get tired, you come home, you don't have to check your blood and vitals to eat food. You eat some good food and you rest, and you are again the same. So that also is possible to look at soil and to work on it. So that's my perspective on the first question.
Thanks so much. And Mafa, would you add something to that?
Thanks very much for this opportunity to share my perspective about the soil. I grew up in the farm. With my father, my mother, my happy family in the farm. My father never went to school, but I remember one thing he told me was that never you tamper with this soil, and never you ever rent this farmland to any other person, because the person will not respect the soil. So I want to say that soil degradation is as a result of lack of consciousness. It's not directly, for me, it's not directly on awareness. I think everybody is aware that the soil is where food comes from. And even if you are born in America and you're eating only from the supermarket, I think somewhere behind your brain, you know that our food comes, 95% of it comes from the soil. And it's as a result of lack of consciousness and as a whole selfishness, because there's a shift of feeding ourselves healthily and feeding the world healthily to a shift of getting rich with money. So I think that's the bottom line. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Now, I want to move on to a bit about, well, you've already mentioned what are the main causes, but how does it directly affect farm outputs and income? Could you discuss how declining soil quality translates into challenges for farmers' yield and also their livelihoods?
You want me to? You want me to
Yes,
start?
yes.
So you see, it is like this. When you don't take care of your health, so the first question is, how do you want to take care of your health? Yeah, whether it is soil, it is a human being, or it is an animal. So the first thing is you need to eat good food, right? So the first thing what we have to understand is that we need to give good food to that soil. So one of the reason why we are having these issues is because again, lack of awareness and consciousness as to what we are giving to the soil. So uh, when we are giving urea, say 46%, so we don't know what is the balance 54%. Yeah. So what happens to it as a chemical residue in the soil? These are the questions which needs to be answered, and these are the problems which are continuing, and there are no solutions which a smallholder farmer is able to get from somebody with a guarantee that if they do it that natural way or the organic way, or something to do betterment with the soil, whether they will get enough output. So over a period of time, because of using chemicals, pesticides, fungicides, all these chemical residues in terms of heavy metals and in terms of residues which cannot break down, they stay in the soil for 100 years or 200 years or whatever it is. So this is one of the challenge whereby you will see that every now and then the amount of fertilizer you need to put in your soil, it keeps on increasing for you to maintain a certain output. And after certain times, even whatever you add, the outputs will not increase because of the deterioration of the soil. Yeah.
Thanks so much, Kumar. Now I have a specific question for Noah. What patterns have you observed relating soil issues to harvest outcomes or income drops in your network?
Yeah, so sorry, my network is playing some tricks on me. Um, so for me, what I've seen firsthand is automatically yield decreases. However, what farmers have been told for so long is that you need to increase the amount of synthetic fertilizers that you put in your soil. That does not necessarily mean that the farmers will get the much needed yield. However, what is happening is that the fertilizers is linked to a certain seed varieties. So you find that a farmer is told, when you plant this seed variety, you need to double the amount of fertilizer. And this is, unfortunately, it is going up to the national county, where it is actually, they're told that you need to add uh, double the amount of fertilizer that you apply. But in respect to the yield versus the income, because at the end of the day, it is the yield in the pocket. the yield, obviously, of the produce and the money back in the pocket of the farmer. That one is not being seen. It is not being seen at all, because you find that a farmer will grow maize very well this season, and they've put a lot of fertilizers, they've put a lot of herbicides, but they did not work on the regeneration, or rather repair, of the soil. So you find that they will harvest the maize, they will cut it down, they'll burn the waste, and then start again. So they've not been talked about how can you be able to plant legumes to have a nitrogen fixation. How can you increase the amount of organic, well decomposed organic manure? Because even that on its own, farmers are sometimes just putting manure because they have organic manure, but they don't know whether it is well decomposed, they don't know the quantities. And this is because, again, farmers have not been told you need to test your soil frequently so that you can also be able to determine that. So that is what I'm observing here.
That's quite interesting and helpful. Now I wanted to ask Mafa about your experience, what you've seen, but also if you have noticed any farming practices that particularly harm or help the soil.
It's a question directed to me, please. I had a breakout.
Yes, do you want me to repeat? So in your experience, you can talk about what you've seen, but particularly if you've noticed any farming practices that harm or that help the health of the soil. Or was that what that was
I
not
think
clear?
his camera's frozen, huh?
Yes, I think. Mafa, can you hear us?
So probably I can go on, I can pick on that as we wait for him to rejoin. Huh?
Sure.
With your permission, Alexandra.
No, of course, yeah. Feel free.
Yes. So a lot of practices are there, Alexandra. Yeah, a lot of practices are there that can really help farmers reboost their soil and re-energize their soil. However, we also need to also know that there are quite a number of factors that are making the soil degraded. And one of the core things that is making the soil degraded is overuse of synthetic fertilizers. That, without a doubt, is one of the causes, because what happens is, for the purposes of those who are joining and probably might not really understand the mix and why we discuss about synthetic fertilizers and organic regeneration of the soils. So one of the things that I see that the synthetic fertilizers is something that is used as a quick fix to feed the current crop. And when I say that, it's like when you are tired, when you've worked the whole day, you need to finish some work, then you either take coffee or an energy drink. That one does not make you not tired. It just makes you not sleepy so that you can be able to work. So the synthetic fertilizers, they just make sure that the current crop can yield. It's not necessarily that it will yield the best. However, whatever remains on the soil, remember, even if you take 5 or 10 energy drinks, when your sleep comes, it will come. You know, I normally joke with my wife that she takes coffee to sleep. If I take coffee in the morning, I can't sleep for 2 days. So that is what happens. And the fact that farmers don't know the composition of their soil structure, that one on its own, it tells you that they cannot know what is happening. And any other activity that is put there on the soil, even the crops, the different types of crop protection and all that doesn't work. However, basic, going back to the science, I know we promised to speak for only 1.5 hours, but because of farmers, because of 1.5 minutes, but because of farmers, allow us please to dive in a bit deeper. Yes, so because of what we are now seeing coming up as agroecology, which agroecology is just the traditional ways of preserving our soils and having farming practices that are good enough for our soils. We can have a lot of crop rotation, we can have a lot of mixing of the different crops, rotation, making sure that we also have a lot of farm-based activities so that we don't have to have an extra expense for farmers as inputs. So there's things like mulching, there's things like composting, activities that can directly affect the soils. And these are things that farmers knew long time ago. However, we have cleverly put this aside and brought in the perceived need for over fertilizing our crops by having synthetic fertilizers.
Thank you so much, Noah. And I have a follow up about you mentioned mulching and composting as some of these more affordable practices for farmers, right? Maybe Kumar, you could answer if you know of other practices similar to these that farmers could embrace.
Yeah, you see, what is happening, Alexandra, is the farmers have been using manure, but that manure, I mean, I have asked this question to 1,000 farmers. Only two people told me that they tested the manure. Okay. So one of the thing what people think is that when you use manure, that manure is organic. Now you have to understand where this dung is coming from, assuming it is coming from a cow. So, assuming it is coming from a grazing cow or it is coming from a cow which is basically for milk. So, the manure quality will also depend on the kind of animal it is there. Number one. Number two, when you talk of manure, people are not going on the aspects of making compost. Everything is available. You can mix a lot of things and make compost. For example, when last time we did a compost and when we tested with something available in the market, it was at least 30 to 40 times, not percentage, 30 to 40 times more nutritious than anything available in the market. And in some parameters, it was even 50%. Because we are working, because you see, manure is actually the food for microbes. So you have to understand there are two different ways you take food. So, as my senior Noah explained about synthetic fertilizers, it's like you're giving it directly like an energy drink. But in case of a natural farming or organic farming, there is a symbiotic relationship between the microorganisms and the roots. So what happens is it takes those things faster. So without taking much time on the science, so what is the problem is that the small scale farmer is not able to make that money at the end of that cycle, because assuming he does not use the synthetic fertilizers, he uses the manure. Is there any person who will guarantee him the results? There is nobody who can guarantee that. So that's the area which Food for Soil Africa is working on. So what happens is you make a very good compost. So you tell them to use that compost and you give them other nutrients which are natural and organic, and you slowly remove their dependency from the chemical based fertilizer. I think that is the approach we are looking at. So I think that's one of the areas where we need to put our resources together and try and see how we can help with the concept of agroecology. So when me I'm talking to the farmer, I'm not using the scientific concepts. Even when I know, I tell them, okay, plant some trees, plant a neem tree here, plant a moringa tree here, plant a mulberry tree, because we know these trees will grow much faster. He'll get the biomass, they'll go into his soil. But you see, the problem is this, that most of the farmers, as my senior Sai rightly pointed out, there are not enough outreaching people who can go out there. I believe with technology we can do that. Now, the people who are going there, many times they are from the same companies who are selling those chemical fertilizers. So it is like you're going to a chemist or a doctor, and both are the same things. So he has to keep on selling that. So that is one thing which we can work on. Second thing is we need to differentiate between medicine and food. All right. So what people are lacking is that we are not giving it enough food. See, when we were young, my seniors will confirm that when we were young and when we went to a doctor, the doctor used to give us some pills, assuming you have flu, but he will also give you vitamin tablets with the flu, so that you work. And then they'll say, okay, eat some good homely food, don't eat outside, eat some fruits. So what is it? So it's the diet of that person. That's the diet which is going to cure you out of that particular disease or malnutrition. So what we are having is the malnutrition of the soil, and malnutrition of this soil is bringing in the malnutrition of the whole human race. Because if it is not in the soil, it is not going to come in the plants. If it's not in the plants, it's not going to come into us. So we are trying to make it as cheap and as affordable for small scale farmers. Very recently, we got some breakthrough in the what we are trying to do here. So hopefully, and that is the only way. The only way you can build soil is by giving it food, because we have to look at the biological aspects of the soil. We can't look at the only the chemical aspects of soil. For example, Zenoa, when you tell some farmer to do a report, you will just get the small parameter that about the nitrogen, phosphorus, and these things. They are not talking about the microbial life, because it's very expensive. If you do it at CropNet, it's 20,000 shillings to do the whole report. So that's where we need a lot of innovation, and we are working on that, where we can bring some good soil testing equipments in Kenya, where you can do it remotely. So a lot of things are happening other side of the world. So we need to take some risk, invest some money in some better small scale implements and gadgets, so that we can monitor and guide the farmer. Yes, with the right way of taking care of you, take care of the soil, and the soil will take care of you. So I think that's my perspective.
Thanks so much, Kumar. That was super insightful, and I have a few points that I might follow up after. But I wanted to ask Mafa on your perspective. Well, we lost you a little bit, but basically, we're talking about these approaches to regenerate soil fertility and to heal the soil, right? So I wanted to ask you from your own experience in the farm and with these farmers, just tell us what have you seen and how do you make these practices more accessible to these smallholder farmers?
Thank you very much. Much of the soil around us, my geographical environment is degraded already, and the pressure, the pressure is on the livelihood of these small-scale farmers, and they would depend so much on from their farming system, and the pressure also is in the forest, because they are forced to go further in the forest to get the virgin land so that they can produce their crop. All this is because they lack the money to buy chemical fertilizer as such, even as they have been converted from the natural system to chemical farming. And so uh, our solution is only to go back to natural first, uh, you know, to plant, especially cover crops when you're working on a slopy hill. Plant cover crops so that you reduce the runoff of the soil, that's erosion. And secondly, make sure that you plant diverse kind of plants, because there are plants who accompany the others. And for example, we plant cassava and plant groundnuts and beans around the same farm. The beans and the cassava and the beans and the groundnuts and leguminous plants are going to enrich the soil, and the cassava is going to eat the soil much more than these leguminous crops. That's another way that will help the farmers to regenerate the soil. Another way of doing this is, uh, agroforestry pays to work in harmony with nature. Because, for example, we have our Wanuswa food forest. There we plant mixed food crops, and like plantains and cocoyams, plus fruit trees like oranges, guavas, and the rest. So integrate livestock. So these are some of the natural ways of regenerating the soil that we are practicing in our regenerative agriculture school. We train young people in doing this, and actually we help small farmer holders in the various cooperatives to do the same. And just like my first speaker spoke, uh, all these things are not possible to help farmers to have good yield immediately. They need help. Farmers need help to transition to regenerative farming. And I think this is a portion of the work that is very, very intensive and we really have to look into. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Alexander,
Do, yeah, go
let me.
ahead.
I'm banning because this is this is my this is where my life revolves around, especially when you talk about soil and smallholder farmers. I think what Mafa has said is something very important, especially the agroforestry bit of regenerating our soils. You find farmers planting cypress, farmers planting trees that cannot help their soils, trees that suck all the water from their soils, trees that even the leaves does not help. And Kumar has also mentioned some of these trees. However, there's this challenge that we have of who is going to preach this soil uh, religion to the smallholder farmer, so that a farmer thinks of the soil before they start anything else.
Kumar, did you want to say something? I thought that you wanted. Yeah.
Uh, you see, whatever knowledge our seniors are giving, I mean, I have learned from such seniors because I'm very new in this field. Uh, what is lacking, according to me, is that somebody who goes to the farmer and says, all is going to be well, start this journey. This is how you will go ahead, and this is how you'll reap. So that is what is missing. So integration of agroforestry, animals, is something which is vital, in terms of biodiversity. So the science is there. We have many people talking about it. We have a lot of people making noise about the various issues we are having in terms of, I mean, there was some big issue about Roundup, the herbicides being used, and how people should not use it and everything. So my take on this is that we need to develop a model. So that's what we are working on, where you give a model to a farmer that, this is your model for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, and definitely you'll make the money. This is how you take care of the soil. This is how you take care of the plant, and this is how you take care of your pests. Because after a certain time, when the organic matter and the soil organic carbon goes at a different level, the attacks of pests and fungal attacks also go down drastically. But people don't want to wait for it. And there is also, they have put a lot of money, their life savings. There's the small scale farmer is facing a lot of issues. So how can we really help them? It's something which really needs to be debated, and we can just structure and give them in some simple ways. Last point I will add here, with internet penetrating in the whole of Africa, with the population of our young generation being much higher, I think it's time for the elderly people to have the younger generation with them, so that at one go, a soil expert can talk to 100 people, 1,000 people, and it is also affordable, because everybody will not be able to afford to have a soil expert, or a agronomist, or agroecology expert to go on their farm. So I think that is one of the areas which can really help.
Thank you so much. So we've explored already how degraded soils affect farmers' yields and income. But it's, as you've already mentioned too, it's not just about productivity, but it's also about a climate solution, isn't it? So mm, we've heard about the power of a healthy soil, not just for food systems, but it's also a powerful carbon sink. And Yemert, who is hosting the webinar, supports farmers to access carbon credit opportunities. But then, from your perspective, how do these kinds of practices support both soil restoration and long term climate resilience? And well, I'll leave that first question because I have another question after. But yes, was it clear? Yeah. Who wants to go first? Kumar, I see you nodding. So yeah, you go ahead.
No, I was saying Mr. Noah. No, he can go.
Okay.
Yeah, because the wealth of experience he has.
Yeah, that's well, the
It's
three of you. So
it's amazing. So I would like to hear it from him. Then
okay, let's go with you, Noah.
So, Alexandra, I think very interesting about with the mention of carbon credits and carbon, the whole carbon, all these issues. I think there's something very, very important for us to actually address. Uh, for example, one key component of the carbon credits discussion and the carbon emissions and all that, I think how it was packaged to African farmers came out as a way of helping the Western world clean the air that they have already messed up. So that was the biggest challenge. And for a very long time, I really tried to fight how that packaging has been done, because carbon credit and the carbon discussion is not necessarily cleaning the air. It is basically making sure that uh, whatever farmers are doing is actually first coming from the soil up, you know. And so when you talk about carbon credit, when you're talking about soil regeneration or soil degradation, I think we are preaching two different sermons, when you're preaching two different sermons. And that is the reason why, if you talk to many farmers now, they start feeling that they're being ripped off. Why? Because some of these companies that are actually getting funding or resources because of carbon discussions, the amount of money they're getting is huge. However, that money is not then trickling down to farmers. But just this is because of how that communication has been packaged. If it was packaged in a way that showcases the importance of fixing the soil as a way of regenerating the soil, but also cleaning the air, that would be a bit different. And why do I say so? If you talk to a doctor who treats diabetic patients, and they will talk about most of the patients who are being treated are elderly, probably elderly, our parents' age, and stuff like that. And this is normally packaged as lifestyle diseases. So the communication to our children is, don't take a lot of sugar, it is harmful for you. But we don't necessarily directly tell them what are the alternatives. So the other day, my son was asking me, Daddy, you tell us not to take Fanta. Sorry to mention some of these brands, to take a soda. Yes, but you are telling us to take sugarcane juice. Sugarcane juice is sweeter, much sweeter than, you see, so there is no distinction there. So when it comes to carbon credit, I think we need to go back to the table and repackage how that goes. That might sound very easy to a farmer in India, probably Kumaru mentioned. Very easy for farmer in China, very easy for farmer in the Western world, the global North. But in the global South, the farmers don't see the relation between carbon credit and farming. And so what happens is, it has been packaged. If you plant these trees, sign up for this this program is called carbon emission, you'll be getting money. Then down the line, 2-3 years, a farmer is only getting $5 and they've planted so many trees. So that relationship is what needs to be managed, so that then it makes sense to the smallholder farmers. Otherwise, we will keep preaching two different sermons.
Yeah, my 2 cents on this. I agree to 100% what my senior has said. With our researches where we are working, we are able to increase the soil organic carbon within 1 year about 10%. Nobody in the world claims that. I'm claiming it to you on live air. We are able to do that. Our people have done it. The issue is this: when you say that you want to increase the soil organic carbon, as you rightly mentioned, very few people understand it. And then on top of that, very few people get money out of it. So according to me, if it has to be packaged for Africa, I think we should also have grass as a crop for carbon credit, because the grass will also give you fodder and it will also keep on increasing your carbon. It will increase the carbon much more than what you can get on the trees. That's my one point. But my personal view on carbon credit is that I don't want to get the carbon credits. I don't want to understand it. I want to increase the organic matter and the soil organic carbon for my farmers. So if the organic carbon of the soil for my farmers go above 4%, the diseases and the fungal infections on that farm should go drastically down, if not by 90%, at least by 70%. And my senior is nodding the head, so it's right. So I think that is a journey, that is a package what we should do, and implement it across different areas, whether it is coffee, horticulture, or whatever smallholder farmers are farming, and we join hands together with whichever NGO is there or whichever a cooperative is there, and show them, because the key thing is that the cost of inputs, you see, that's where I'm saying that I'm an accountant and a CFO by profession. I've gone round the table of an accountant, chief accountant, CFO, listing companies on the stock exchange, and now I'm in farming and trying to put my head and trying to see how to go about it. So as I'm saying, I'm looking it from a different lens, understanding the various aspects of agroecology and other aspects what we need to do with soil. But rather than pitching this to the farmer, what you're telling the farmer, you're showing him that if you do this, this is what you shall get, based on a model. So model based farming is what I would recommend, and I would like to see more people. So the farmer, he's not doing uh, too many trials, and trying to see if this works. A farmer sees somebody has grown exotic fruits, and then he goes and grows it 1,000 shillings, and then when he goes to the market, he does not even get 100 shillings, 200 shillings. So I think it starts from there. You show them the nearest market. You've got 2 acre, plant every month a quarter acre, and I can show him on a piece of paper that he's going to make 4 times the money. The problem is that they don't stick to it, you see. So a professional person, he's given a program, he'll stick to it, he'll see what is happening. If he does not understand, he'll get a professional advice, and you see he will move on. So how this can be put up in a system to help a small scale farmer, that is where I'm scratching my head day and night.
I mute. Sorry, you were nodding a lot, Noah. So I think you wanted to chime in on something, or you were just
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. It's very true. Kumar is making it very easy for me to to be here. I had actually prepared a speech, but Kumar has made my work very easy. To be very honest, the story of carbon credits is a lie. It's a lie because it does not help smallholder farmers directly. However, if done well, it will be very different. And that I use the traditional medicine world. And the traditional medicine world is a very interesting world. Why do I say that? It is interesting because we already have these trees, we have shrubs, we have all these things that can really work very well. However, the fact that we have intentionally decided that we will not document traditional medicine or history, then we get very quick fixes. So if carbon credit was packaged in a different way, for example, we were told, when you actually sign up for this program, we will help you how you will increase the yield of your farm. We will increase the profit, the nutrients. We'll increase, and let's stop the jargon. Let's stop all this scientific jargon, because smallholder farmers don't care about that thing. And then we tell them, over and above this, if you do it the right way, probably you might get some money out of it. And then that becomes a different story, because then farmers will make sure that they're doing it very well, so that at the end of the day, apart from selling their produce that will be healthy and nutritious, then they can also get something extra out of it. So that's why I was nodding. And also something else that Kumar has mentioned, something very critical, is the fact that whatever food we eat with soil that is bad, we automatically bring it to our bodies, whether we like it or not. So food security is not just about availability of food. It has to be food that is healthy, safe, and nutritious. So most of the time we have a lot of food, but it's not nutritious and it's not safe. So that we have to think about that as we talk about fixing the soil.
Thank you, Noah. But I just wanted to bring a question that is directed to Mafa. Um, how do you regenerate large tracts of land? In my region, commercial farmers grow wheat or maize for over 20 years in the same piece of land. They never practice crop rotation. Oh, Mafa, well, that was a question for him, but
I think Mafa has dropped.
yes,
Please, can you
he's
speak
back.
again?
Actually, I don't know if
Please, can you
are you
speak
able.
again?
Yes, but it's also on the screen. There's a question for you. It says, "How do you regenerate large tracts of land?" In my region, commercial farmers grow wheat or maize for over 20 years in the same piece of land. They never practice crop rotation.
That's a very tricky question to start thinking of regenerating very large pieces of land. I think the practice starts from the unitary level to be able to understand how you can regenerate or rejuvenate a degraded piece of land. You should start small first. I think in the case of maize farming, uh, it's not very advisable to plant only one kind of crop on a piece of land. Traditionally, I like to talk about traditional farming because it's the way I've grown up, and farming is never taught in any classroom. It's only taught in the farm, and so all the wonderful sciences are taught in classes are practiced in farm. So, in what we do is we plant maize always with beans. As I said from the beginning, we plant maize always with beans and also with granules. These plants they go together, and obviously we harvest the granules and the beans before even the maize. And these other two crops, beans and granules, they leave the soil richer than the mate. And so on the same piece of land, you can work there for so many years. And when you have understood this practice, and then you can scale. I think that is a bit of a response to this question.
Yes, thank you. And the same person also. Oh, Kumar, you want to? Yes, go ahead.
So let me answer her directly
Okay.
how it can be done. Number one, she can use the liquid fermented manure, which is LFM, and it can be done in such a way because you are having a commercial crop, so it will be guided with the nutrients which are lacking in your farm. That is number one. Number two, whenever you can, assuming in a few months you are able to get some. Uh, uh, in organic language you say chop and drop. So in your farm, which are the areas where you can bury some residues in the soil? After you have removed your wheat, what do you do of the balance remaining wheat? So there are multiple ways you can use that. Number three is you can use liquid microorganisms like trichoderma and so many other different, like WAM, the microzilla, the fungals. So what it will do is it will help you regenerate your land. And as my brother pointed it out rightly, try and do strip farming. So in your 1,000 hectares, have a vision of putting some different crops every few hectares, and just bring a little bit of biodiversity, and wherever you have empty space around your farm some trees. I think that's what you can do.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Let me wear the hat of a farmer. The hat of a farmer. One thing, science will tell us what we need to do. However, it is the hardest thing to do, Alexander. Let Kumar and, and Mafa not convince you to do that. Farming is very expensive, and it is expensive because it's just like being a parent. The most expensive part of is, and the most worrying part is between when as a man, when your wife is pregnant until the child can cry in hospital, because anything can happen. You anything risky, you rush to the hospital at 2 a.m. every day, you know. So farming is very expensive, and that's why I normally say I compare farming to marriage. It's not for everyone, you know. So when I say that is because to be able to regenerate 100 acres is a tall order. In fact, it is close to impossible. However, as the advice has been given there, what needs to be done then, it needs to be very intentional. One, it starts from land preparation. In Betty, the person who has asked the question is a very good friend of mine. She's called Betty. One in the region where she is, I also come from part of that region, is that we have made sure that the people who drive tractors have money from us every season. So we are always moving the topsoil to down regularly before planting season. So what we don't do is that we do not go back and actually reduce the usage of tractors on our farms. So we have to, if you're doing 100 acres, then it means you can afford a tractor. So why do you have to go on use same tractors? We can actually go zero to minimum tillage, so that we stop always disturbing the soil. So that is one thing. The other thing is now also, as my seniors have also mentioned about the legumes and all that, but that goes back to farmer education. So we should not assume that these farmers understand. We have to also invest heavily on the same amount of time we are investing, amount of resources we are investing in the health sector. We should also invest the same or even more. And yes, we can integrate technology where one person can talk to 5,000 people. But we should also remember that farming is a very practical aspect. So we need to make sure that these people, young people, in Kenya alone, we have close to 300,000 people, young people who have graduated with a diploma, certificate, or a degree in agriculture, and they don't have jobs. So we can use them.
Yes.
It's such an interesting point. Kumar, sorry, did you want to say something again? No? Oh, yes, about the youth and in getting the youth engaged. In your own experiences with your communities, and Noah, you're very active with your platform as well, so digitally. How would you, if you could say a success story that you've found from these communities, online or in person, about soil regeneration, could you mention maybe a few or just one, if you can think of one?
The connection got distorted. I didn't hear the last part of the question.
Yes. So about how do we get more youth involved with this same? Well, as you mentioned, the youth are now jobless, and how can we make them more involved? I mean, I think probably you, because of your platform, have been helping with that regard, or what do you find?
Yes. Allow me to go as raw as possible. Most of the time, when a parent is a doctor, chances are the child will become a doctor. because this parent goes to hospital, he works there, he dresses in a white robe, comes back home. They have some leave days. You know, when doctors work for 4 days, the last next 3 days they're not working. If you find a parent is a pilot, chances are the child will work in that industry. If you find a parent is an architect, chances are the child will be. But I have I am yet to come across 10 parents who are farmers and their children have proudly said they want to be farmers. And this is uh, especially in sub-Saharan Africa. And this is because the challenges that African farmers face, you actually are so significant that actually the children have no idea and they have no love for that activity. And because of that reason, you find that young people are shunning away, they're running away very quickly from farming. And why are they doing this? They are running away because they are not seeing money in the pockets of the farmers, the main themselves. And young people, especially the Generation Z, the Gen Zs that we are seeing coming now to the generation Gen Alpha, they want quick fixes. They want something that works very well and very fast. If you go to the academic institutions, the agricultural courses, I'll talk about this in Kenya, are the ones that the people who are doing agriculture are the ones who did not make it for medicine, they did not make it for architecture, they did not. So they are taken and said, oh, now you go and do agriculture. But the syllabus, the academic syllabus, is making these young people come out of agricultural colleges and not really marketable. However, in the network that I am in, and part of my network works directly with young people, we have actually started packaging. We have a solution called Africa Farmers AgriTech Connect, where we are retraining, repackaging these young people, somebody who has a degree or a diploma or a certificate, and we're making them re, re, redirect, can I use the word regenerate to human beings? Yes, I can. To regenerate their brains so that then they can approach this from farming from a different perspective. I hear a lot of times, I hear that young people, we should make agriculture sexy and attractive to the young people. They don't care about that. They just want money in the pocket. So as Kumar is here, as Mafa is here, I can proudly say that the amount of money that is being put in the hands of NGOs or agri-tech companies, if that was taken and put on the soil, where now farmers can be able to access finance, farmers can be able to access affordable regenerative inputs, farmers can learn about climate smart agriculture, then that on its own can be able to attract these young people, because they'll be like, oh, my dad paid my fees from the farm. So now if I can be able to get this done, fantastic. But very few farmers are able to pay school fees from the farm. They have to get something else to come here. So for the young people, we have to handhold them without forcing them, but we have to show them that there is value in money, not just a peace of mind. No, because I don't think farmers have peace of mind. I think one of the things that they should do is that to show them here's money. But also, as Kumar said earlier, we also need to understand that the whole value chain is very big, and so not all these young people need to go to and dig. These young people can go to Kumar and learn how can I be able to probably make regenerative solutions for farmers. They can go to him and tell him, you are an accountant with experience in accounting. Can you help me manage farms? Can you help me create projection plans for farmers based on their yield, based on this, based on that? Then it will be attractive. But also we need to start it when they are young, because most children who are 2 years, 3 years, they know how to be a doctor because they visit hospitals and say, oh, the doctor is putting a stethoscope here, they can hear my heart. We should also take these young people to the farms and also doing something extra. But at the same time, on the part of we as farmers, what we need to do as farmers also, we need to make sure that we are not average. We need to be above average, do the right thing, increase our soil fertility, make sure that is being done the right way, so that then it can attract even our children. But if my children get attracted to agriculture, their friends will be attracted to agriculture. But if they don't, then it's impossible.
Yes. Yes. Thank you so much, Noah, for all of these insightful comments. And well, I wish we had more time, but because of lack of time, could Kumar and Mafa, could you say just some closing remarks and very, very brief, please, so then we can go back to Noah as well, so he can say his closing remarks.
Yeah. I would say thank you very much, and I hope it ignites a few farmers tonight after they watch all of us discussing together. I would just add one thing, that while we have so many people like Noah and my other friend here, myself also, I'm trying to do a few things. I think what we need to show our youth is together with the elder or the father or the farmer, and when he works together, there is the farming is much better when you're together with them and he learns the ropes from a senior person how to go about it. My gut feeling is saying that if us coming from diverse backgrounds and we are trying to see that yes, there is money here and we can make that money, I think we need to show that to a lot of people. Um, and the first place to start is the soil. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kumar. Mafa?
Yes, I wish to tell farmers in the entire world that uh, we need to deepen our connections with nature, because all structural projects to regenerate the soil will fail if we don't go deeper in the inside of us and develop inner qualities that accompany our consciousness in the way we treat the soil, because if the soil is not healthy, we will not have healthy food, and then we will not have healthy people and no healthy planet. Thank
Yes.
you.
Thank you, Mafa. And Noah?
Alexandra, by now you need to be adding the disclaimer when I start talking, huh? And tell me it's 1 minute.
There's no fun in that. I'm kidding.
So let me. I'll be very brief in this. I think one thing, three things. One, we need to stop operating in silos. We have very good solutions. We have fantastic. There's a lot of knowledge in Africa. I can tell you for sure in terms of even just soil health itself. But we operate in silos. When you talk about silos, everybody is doing very good things in their own house. But we need to talk more. We need to share more data. We need to. I don't need to have a lab. But if I'm working, and Kumar does not need to go and visit farmers. But if I'm visiting farmers, I should be able to take Kumar's solution to the farmers. It makes work easier, so that Kumar develops the tech. I come back with feedback and tell Kumar, this is what farmers are looking at. This is what farmers are saying. Are we able to build this? My background is not in agriculture. My background is in tech. I'm a product and service design specialist as a back-end programmer. So I think through that how we package this information. The second thing, we should actually be very ashamed as a continent that when we talk about fixing the soils in Africa, because we don't have industries that are messing up. We have a lot of land available. So what we need to do is just to make sure that we're educating. It is a bit embarrassing when we see Africa is very strong in religion, but we are very poor in managing our soil. And yet God created a Garden of Eden. The last thing, let us remember these young people who are studying agriculture and hold their hands, because they are the next generation of success for smallholder farmers in Africa, especially when it comes to soil health. I kept my promise, huh?
Yeah. Well, thank you so much to all of our speakers. This was super, super insightful. And as you mentioned, we should keep these conversations going and making sure that the younger generations are aware of the importance of soil health. So this is a really nice conversation to start doing that. Thank you so much. And well, if you want to find out more about these webinars to the audience, please follow us on LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. Yes, yeah, we're all on that social media. So again, thank you so much to the speakers, and thank you to the audience. And well, we'll see you at the next one. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.